Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Talk Show. This podcast is dedicated to a growth mindset. You see, I believe that you know something that I don't know, and I believe that I know something that you don't know. And the only way for each of us to both rise in our knowings is to sit in a room and share our knowings so we can both rise. For those of you that are new to this show and love inspirational content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. My name is Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in.
We come to you every day with the best speakers, relationship coaches, spiritual mentors, trailblazers, business owners, authors, young hustlers, podcasters, entrepreneurs, fitness trainers, therapists, financial advisors, and more. We ask our guests one question. What do you know that I don't know? Get ready, because today's guest is about to change the way you view your world. This is Her Talk Show, hosted by Sabrina Victoria.
Hello, thank you so much for being here. Those of you that are already jumping on live, we appreciate you hanging out with us. This is Her Talk Show. We have had over 400 women grace this stage, and we are adding another one to the list. If you are watching us, welcome. If you are watching us on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you are watching us at so we can send you some love. Either way, share this video wherever you're watching us at so we can get more eyes and more ears on the awesome content that we are about to share today. So Her Talk Show is here to inspire and have you thinking outside the box in no time. Today, I'm speaking with an amazing woman named Lena Cebula. Did I say that right? Lena Cebula?
Yes.
Yes, girl. We're rocking already. Ready. Lena is an author of a spiritual autobiography called Miraculous, Drug Addiction and Human Trafficking Survivor. Oh my. Today, she is a social justice advocate, blogger, professional public speaker, and host of Love&BLoved Podcast. She is sharing the good news of God's love and creating awareness about the reality of human sex trafficking. Her mission is to move people with encouragement, inspiration, and motivation, and to offer hope that there is a chance to have love, joy, peace, and wholeness again after trauma. Lena is married and is the mother of 3 beautiful children. Welcome, Lena.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so exciting to be
Yes,
here.
girl. What a story. Can you do us a huge favor and give us like a synopsis of all of the things?
Yes, absolutely. And first of all, I would have never imagined that after 20 years of silence, this is what I would be doing, standing on stage in front of hundreds of people, and that my story gonna be broadcasted all over social media. Because in the past, I was afraid of judgment and rejection because I thought my story was of guilt, shame, and condemnation. But now I know it's God's story of salvation. It's story of overcoming adversity and thriving after trauma. So I was born and raised in Ukraine, and my parents really struggled in their marriage. So they lost well-paid jobs and became an alcoholics. So our home was infested with cockroaches, mice, and black mold, and our government turned off the electricity and hot water for outstanding bills. So we really struggle in poverty trying to survive. So I was raised in a home full of strangers who brought booze and drugs, and with parents who did really nothing to protect me. So I became an easy target for those guys in very early age. So I was drugged and raped numerous times in the basement of my own apartment. And honestly, guys, when I thought things couldn't get any worse, 1 month before my 15th birthday, I woke up with severe abdominal pain, scared and confused, only to realize that I was in labor. So I didn't know I was pregnant, and I didn't even know who her father was. So my baby girl died 3 months later from health complications. And I buried her when I was 15. I carried her casket this big to the cemetery in my arms, and for the next 20 years I carried that image in my mind and in my soul.
Wow.
So honestly, I suffer with depression and anxiety and panic attacks. So I start using alcohol and drugs to medicate my pain. So later on, I turned to heroin because it was better to be high than feeling worthless, hopeless, abandoned, and so broken.
Wow.
So then years went by. I don't remember much, and then I saw people dying around me or who went to jail. So desperate and in despair, I needed to change. But there is no hopes and dreams for people like me. I was a street junkie. And then through my like our mutual friend, I actually met this lady, and she brought me to her house and she offered me fancy coffee and sweets. And I was so impressed. She looked like a celebrity and she was wonderful and kind to me. And then she told me she would be able to get me a job. There was no specific, just a job. So without really much thought, I accepted, eager to escape. So her team went to work. Still on heavy drugs, I vaguely remember I report and how I got through customs. I'll never know. And just one morning, I heard this Muslim call to prayer, Allahu Akbar, ran out. So I actually was so confused and terrified because I realized I'm not in my country anymore. So it took me a while to realize that that nice, rich-looking lady actually sold me into human trafficking. Yeah, I end up in being in Cairo, Egypt, and then I was forced to crawl under the barbed wire, crossing the border illegally into Israel, where they sold us into brothels. So I actually realized that it's very important what brothel you end up in, because most of the girls who came with me went missing or died or never heard of them again. But actually, guys, you're probably thinking that's a horrible situation. But honestly, where I was coming from, I would be dead million time over. It's like back home. But here it was almost upgrade for me because by default I quit heroin because there was no drugs available. Then they fed me, they cleaned me, and nobody could rape me. I actually have a bodyguard, and oh, nobody could beat me to death as well. And I even make some money. And one of the bodyguard in the brothel actually shared the gospel with me. And when my grandpa had a heart attack, I actually went to Jerusalem to pray. And I know people like me don't deserve mercy or forgiveness, but that's when first time God actually answered my prayers. So I wanted to leave. And honestly, guys, in most cases, you never leave this kind of situation alive unless you have been rescued. By the grace of God, almost 2 years later, they set me free and I was able to go home to Ukraine. So I thought I would build a new life, but one of my other bodyguard, who was like a brother to me, cheated me out of all of my possession that I accumulate over that time. And my trustworthy aunt stole and spent all my money. So I honestly like come back to square one, and I was so devastated. So I turned to what was familiar, and I was like in heroin again, and I became the actually right hand of number one drug dealer in my city, and I had unlimited amount of drugs, money, and influence, but it wasn't safe. I had to get away because I would be dead of overdose or possibly end up in jail or even being murdered. So this time I honestly like I didn't know what to do. So I actually sold myself again into sex trafficking willingly because my body was no precious to me. It was the commodity that I used to survive. So and literally why wouldn't I? That's all I knew as well. But this time they trafficked me to Canada, and I was on alcohol and drugs again. But here in Canada, this is like very interesting. I was over 20 years old. For first time, somebody said that I have human rights. And I was like, what is that? Because I'm teaching my kids and the school as well, like since they are an over like kindergarten. I was over 20 years old. I was an adult that I heard about human rights. So actually that's what triggered me to look for the opportunity to escape. So I've left, and actually one of my friend helped me to find the shelter. So I live in shared shelter and learn English from level 0. Then I applied and graduated from cosmetology government credit school and became a hairstylist. So then I met my husband, have my babies, and today I actually a speaker and blogger because I closed my business to actually write and publish my book, and sharing my story after 20 years of silence, because it's have such amazing breakthrough for me, and I hope and pray it's going to be for someone else as well.
Wow. Absolutely.
Miraculous.
Yeah.
Just like my book, Journey from Hell to Heaven.
Yes. Wow. What happened that made you realize that you needed to share your story? Because so many times women go through, maybe not exactly, but sexual trauma, bad. They never say anything. What happened? What made you realize that this is something you had to do?
Absolutely. And I think that's shame stealing our voice.
Mm.
And that's what happened to me for 20 years. I believed the lie that I gonna be rejected, abandoned if I tell people who I really was. So actually they saw this new persona that I created when I was already healed and forgiven with my own family. So until you tell people about yourself, nobody really know who you are. So I thought I never gonna speak about my past again, because right before my wedding, I think like 6 days or like few days like after my husband proposed, whatever, um, I actually want to tell him the story, because until I thought like we're not serious, I never would share anything with him. And I wrote him a letter because I want him to choose to marry me or not, because I would not marry me, because I always thought that I was broken and damaged and all that stuff. But yeah, he didn't read it. He said like it's between you and God. And I thought that's where it's gonna end up. It's gonna be buried for the rest of my days. But you know what? No matter how much I was loved and healed and forgiven, it's always been a burden. That secret, that darkness been lurking in my mind, body, and soul. And it like had to come out. But because I'm woman of faith, I actually heard people keep coming to me, and that's how I believe I hear God speaking to me, because people keep coming and say you have to write the book about this your story. And one day, as a hairstylist, I had a friend and I told her I'm writing the book, and I thought I gonna write only good story, good part of my story with my husband and my kids. And then I told her a little bit about my childhood, and she said, "Is this story in the book?" And it got me so scared. I'm like, "No." And she said, "I rather read where you came from."
Ooh.
And I was crying for 3 days, thinking like, I did not volunteer to write my like story about my past, about my life. But then I almost like have like this feeling inside that saying like you have to write your story. And then I thought to myself, okay, maybe God want to help someone, because definitely see my life before and after. Definitely it's huge transformation, amazing path from hell to heaven, and overcoming adversity, lots of lessons, lots of hope after trauma. I thought that's gonna be for somebody else, any risk like thing. thanks God. But it's actually changed my life. I had no like publisher deal or anything. I just wrote for 3 years my manuscript. I just wrote and wrote. Sometimes I cry, sometimes I laugh, but it was an amazing experience to actually look into the past from the new perspective. I was afraid of that pain, shame, and condemnation that I left there. But actually, looking back, I was able to forgive myself. I was able to forgive my parents, because now I'm looking at my mother, who I hate for like 20 years with the passion, because I blame her for everything that happened to me, thinking what kind of mother you are, and seeing how much um, I love my kids. I'm thinking like, what happened there? So I couldn't understand. But now, writing this book and looking from the eyes of me having three kids, just like her, husband and a home, and knowing how hard is this job. And now I'm start asking questions, instead just like blindly hate her for her not protecting me, not defending me, and not loving me. It's like, now I see and I'm asking myself, if my husband would be like this, if I would be living in this country, if I would have like mental health challenges, like because I had postpartum, definitely she had them too, because now I know she did, and three kids, and she has to have a full-time job. And our apartment have like no hot water. Can you imagine? Like cook, clean, like do all this stuff. And we didn't have like washing machine, slow cookers, and all that jazz that actually helped me to take care of my kids. So now I accept and hate. I actually have compassion for her, thinking
Wow.
like, how can you pour from the empty glass? She had nothing for her. She was so broken that she could not take care of herself. How I expect her to actually care for someone else? So that's what was huge transformation in my mindset, how I think about myself, about my past, because I have to forgive that little Lena too. She was the product of the environment. That's what happened. That's what the cards was dealt to me, and it is what it is, and I cannot do anything to change it. So literally through the process, I just accept it, forgive it, and like let go. I literally let go and allowed God to deal with everything that was in the past and actually get healing from it. So I
Wow.
said to my husband when the book was published, I said to him, if nobody ever buy my book, it changed my life.
Mm. Wow. Absolutely. Incredible how meeting the just that one person changed so much of the beginning, the new beginning of your story. Incredible. When you think about your entire journey and what somebody listening can learn from your journey, what is the main takeaway?
Honestly, never give up.
Mm,
Just honestly, that's what I've learned for myself, that I have a resilience. Like, and of course, I'm not talking about the I owe my life to God. I know that I didn't die a million times over, that I could just by his grace. But the fact is that all those troubles, all that trauma, all discord that been part of my life actually create me who I am today. It's create that resilient, that thinking outside of the box powerhouse that I'm so proud of right now. But never give up, never surrender. Honestly, like it seems like sometimes like you're in so much darkness that you think that easy way out, just quit. Don't quit. Don't give up on yourself until you're alive. And doesn't matter how this healing look to you today, if you just can get up and brush your teeth, or if you can actually dress up and go to work and conquer the day. Doesn't matter how it's look for you. Just don't apologize for healing as long the path that you taking it's constructive. It's like no drugs, no booze, because that's just the illusion. It's just coping mechanisms. I know sometimes it hurts like hell, so you just want to numb yourself. Find the constructive methods like exercise, going for a walk, you know, cuddle with your pet, write the journal. You don't have to write the book, you don't have to go on social media to share your story. Just pour your heart down on a paper, just between like you and God, you know. And if you really need help, go ask, like, find one trusted person. You don't need the army of people to back you up. One person who trusts you, who love you. Just make sure that you make that decision as well consciously and think about that too. But if you end up with the person who still not gonna understand this, there's somebody who gonna love you and understand you. But my point is, through everything, if you just put your foot one in front of another. And I heard this saying, and that's kind of part of it too. The yesterday is gone, tomorrow is not promised. So
Mm,
just stay today, you know, stay today, one foot in front of another. And one day you actually can look back and you can say, wow, I went through this. And I kid you not, since I'm talking to like now so many people, we all have a past, we all have a trauma, we all have discord in our lives. So whatever was happening to you or still happening to you, you are not alone. So you are
yeah,
not broken, not damaged, it's just happening. So just don't give up, get through it. One day everything gonna change. It just take time. It took me
yeah,
20 years to speak about this and actually have joy looking in the past and saying, I'm so grateful that it happened to me. And people read my story or hear my story and they think like, are you crazy, woman? And honestly, I would not change anything if it's bring me today where I am right now with my mind, body, and soul, with
mm,
my relationship, with my
mm,
character, with my understanding. I love my life, like
mm.
all of it, with all this mess and discord, because it it has a reason. It's hard to understand when you're in pain, but there's gonna be another side, I promise.
Yeah, absolutely. For those that are listening live, thank you for being here, by the way. For those of you watching on the replay, there's people that are going through situations where it seems to be never ending, like just never ending. And it's sometimes hard for them to hear what you're saying because they're like, don't give up. But like, dude, this is so much all the time, never ending. When is it okay for somebody to give up?
Hmm. You know what's interesting? When you were saying all this like words and phrases, and in my head say move, move, move. So ex- expect, accept, and give up, move.
Mm,
If it's never ending and the same loop, you can move. Honestly, take that chance on yourself and just take the action. Get out. If you're in abusive situation, be brave and courageous for that one moment. Like call 911, tell them the truth.
yeah.
If you been like mentally abused, if you like in the darkness of drug addiction, move,
Mm,
take the action, go to the hospital and tell them, I'm in the end of my rope. If you are so broken in your soul and people were walking all over you and you have so many trust issues and you think nobody gonna love you, go to the church. Like honestly, tell them, give me the Bible, you know, and look, seek, like rooted in faith. And you're gonna realize that you're never alone, that you're capable, that you're worthy, that you're enough. Until you make that move, and tell yourself that I'm worthy, that give up part gonna look like easy way out, but it's not gonna be easy. It's just the illusion and it's a lie, because your life is valuable. You are worthy and you are enough, and we need you here.
Yeah.
So when you are in pain, just move. Find that one move. Write the letter. If you cannot tell anything to anyone, write the letter, give it to someone with the words, I need help. No matter if it's mental health help, physical help, abuse in your home, you need to tell someone a truth.
Yeah.
You don't have to broadcast this like all over the social media. You need one person or organization like a church or hospital or police. You need to go. And there's so many amazing organizations who fight for human rights. And you have rights to be here.
Mm,
I want you to hear that.
yes. I think so many times it's so easy for somebody to put a timeline on their life or on their situation. And then just at a certain time, they're like, that's enough time. And they give up. So I love what you're saying there as far as you never do. And then giving a real solution to it, having to move. And that doesn't mean like move physically, right? It doesn't actually move from like one side of the United States to another. Could it mean that? Yes. But that it doesn't have to be that drastic. It doesn't have to be the excuse if I don't have money to move. She's saying just move out of the situation.
Take the action, take that first step, move. Like, why I use move in my mind, it's like, when I saw this meme or picture, like a tree, it's planted, it's
Mm,
rooted, it's like cannot like move. So when you move, it's that action of not being still.
yeah,
So can be like small thing, just call your friend and say, you know what, this is what's been going on in my family.
yeah,
And you gonna see that people gonna love you and help you and support you.
yeah.
Absolutely.
What were some, I love to talk about limiting beliefs.
Mm,
And, in situations like this, especially in and around sexual abuse of any sort, and you briefly mentioned like shame, guilt, or whatever the words are. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. What are some limiting beliefs that you yourself had to really heal from in order to show up as the wife and the mother that you are today?
well, definitely for me was number one is the imposter syndrome,
Mm,
because I was haunted with the thoughts. So now I quit drugs and prostitution and everything. So by the time I met my husband, I was already almost a year clean and out. But still, I never thought I'm gonna be a wife and a mother. I thought I'm gonna be dead million times over. So I never had like dreams. Plus, like I never had a mother who taught me how to clean, taking care of the kids or anything like that. So like everything about my upbringing was not normal.
mm,
So when I met my husband with this Christian family, with these girls who like clean and cook and soft spoken, it freaked me out because I have different color hair. I was obnoxious because I still didn't learn how to behave properly. Nobody taught me how to sit at the table, and they have these dinners and they like soft spoken, they eat gentle, they are gentle. And I'm like, this like I don't know tornado. I'm loud. I had tattoos, different colors hair, like, and it's literally watching those women, it's kind of freaked me out. I'm like, whoa, I totally don't fit in whatever life it is, like normal life with like, and he has like full family, like father, mother, staying together for like 50 years, stuff like that, like normal. I'm doing quotation marks because normal right now it's so different for me. But what interesting though, I suffer with those thoughts of condemnation. Who do you think you are that you think you're gonna be a good mother?
Mm.
Who do you think you are that you think you deserve a good marriage? Who do you think you are that you think you can come out from hell and create clean home or peaceful relationship? And that make me feel so like kind of beneath them, like
Mm.
that damage like to my soul being done. And my husband was working a lot, so when I had the baby, I actually, and his family was on going to US. So when I got my first child, I got hit with postpartum, and I never been diagnosed. So my husband always at work. I had no family or friends to help me with the baby. Now I have a baby. I have those thoughts that I'm not a mother. I don't know how to take care of the baby. I don't know what the heck to do with this baby. So now I have a life, and my first baby died in my arms. So I'm like, I'm terrible mother. I gonna and my child was like, she was so sick. All her teeth come out with like 401 fever. Like she had like rashes. Like it's been so bad. But every time I bring her to the hospital, I was like living in a hospital because I was so terrified that this baby gonna die on my watch, and my husband will then see that I'm useless. I cannot, like, I'm useless mother, wife. I don't know how to clean and cook. And because he didn't take that letter that I share with him, sometimes I'm thinking that was such a gift. He didn't ask me because then he might not marry me. But now, because he didn't know, he was like, coming from work and saying like, come on, woman, is your mother didn't teach you how to clean the floor? And in my mind, like, no, she didn't. And except on being like humble and just like say that to him, I was getting angry because I tried my best, but I didn't know how to vacuum. Like I didn't see vacuum in my life, or I didn't know how to clean or fold the laundry. And he gave me the drills. He's like, because in his mind, are you crazy, woman? Like everybody knows how to fold the laundry. Yeah, your family does, because you looking at your sisters, and your mother, and his mother is like super at cleaning, cooking, wifey duties. Like she's was my example. She actually was mom that I never had, who taught me to do all this stuff. But that was like my number one, all those doubts, like all those fears that sometimes like people gonna find out who I am. And honestly, comparing myself to others, normal women, and see how I'm totally don't fit in that mold, that's what I have to fight over and over and over. And actually, definitely my faith was like number one, that helped me to understand that I'm loved and worthy, and no matter what happened to me, I'm still like deserve to be happy and deserve this. So that was like was huge transformation when I actually learned. Well, actually my husband said that phrase. He said to me, you're a good mom. And then he said, this child's life, like you're not in control. If God decide this is like she gonna pass away, this is not on you. And that's actually free me, so I was able to care for the baby and doing what I can, and the rest of it what I cannot do, like save her life, I just leave it up to God. And it's very interesting though. So when I was like so solid in this understanding, then I had twins. And it was so much easier for me with twins because I already knew who I am as a mother. So I felt like and they were and smaller and longer in the hospital, but it still was so much easier because mentally I know that I am a good mom. I know I can take care of the house. And only because I've learned. It took me like 5 years to be like on the job, cooking, cleaning, folding the laundry. And guess what? If you don't know how to do it, buy the cookbook and you learn. If you want to learn how to be a good wife and a mother. You need to love, number one, forgive and care. And then you learn the skills. And there you go. That's how it's free me to fight this imposter syndrome. It took time to prove myself that I'm able to learn all this stuff and how much I love them. And I realized, so now, like, if you tell me I'm a bad mother, I don't even care because I know that I am. You can, like, million people can have like their own opinion or whatever. I know that I am. You know why? I believe that. My kids tell me that. My husband tell me that. His mom tell me that. And you know what? It's a beautiful confirmation, but I know this in my heart that I am, because I love my house, I love my kids, and I love that it's clean most of the time. No, but you know what? I have food, I have like everything. But then interesting point too, that I've learned how not to be from my mom too. When I become a wife and a mother, I want everything that I didn't have. I want my kids have an attention. I want them to feel loved. I want them to feel safe. I want a clean home. I want a quiet home. I want boundaries. The boundaries, that's
Mhm.
amazing part, because the neglect doesn't do very well, like with drama too. But yeah, I create everything that, like, so I'm grateful to my mother too. She taught me how not to be. And that's a huge lessons as well too.
Yeah. Wow. What an incredible story. So grateful to you for being so open and vulnerable about it. You know, there's so many individuals that just feel stuck,
Mm,
that just feel like there's no way they could possibly have what they envision, what they dream about. And you are a testament to never giving up. You're a testament to doing whatever it takes. You're a testament to the importance of leaning into your story and of forgiveness,
absolutely.
forgiving yourself, forgiving the individuals the adults, that should have acted or done things a little
Mm.
bit differently than what they did. Um, so thank you so much for being here and sharing so much with us. I'd love for you to tell those that are listening live and on the replay right now what exactly you do, your business.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I published my book called Miraculous, and you can guys get it from Amazon.ca or Amazon.com. You actually can check it out my website as well. Just um, pretty new and exciting because it's updated. It's called lenacebula.ca, and lots of information there as well. There's information about my podcast, and sometimes, like, I interview people or organizations that I really love to support. So they're on my website as well. So if you guys need the resources, like about human trafficking, some red flags, or about grooming as well, there's addict to athlete as well, amazing organization, because I do believe that's how you stay clean, from whatever is, like, even if it's mental health challenges, we need to move our bodies. So definitely stuff like that help. I'm part of this Zonta organization that stands for women rights and advocate for equality, and we fight against child marriages as well. So, as I'm part of Fight for Freedom, it's an organization that fights against human trafficking. So right now I'm speaking. If you guys like my story, you can invite me to speak as well. But I'm working on my life coaching license. So it's going to be done probably by next November. But I'm working on free workshop. So if you curious about it, just keep an eye on my podcast, or I'm gonna advertise as well. Because what's cool about this story, I want people to have a next step, like, and I want to create all these action steps, small or big, or actually just spark that light of hope when you feel stuck. And it's gonna be free, so if you guys want to come and check it out, it's gonna done soon. And Sabrina, if you gonna release this later on, I would appreciate if you post that as well under your show notes, so people have more information. And honestly, there is another offer. If you guys struggling with abuse or human trafficking, just send me email to lenacebula@gmail.com, and I give you this book as a gift.
Mm,
But if you guys want to buy this book, proceeds gonna go to Zonta or Fight for Freedom to support survivors. So no matter how, I would like to help through this book and through sharing my story as well.
beautiful. What are your big dreams for your community, for your business, for your book?
Hi, honestly, oh my goodness. Sometimes like I'm waking up and I'm so excited because I thought I'm gonna be a hairstylist only in the salon, but and I loved what I was doing because I love to make people beautiful and boost their self-esteem and self-confidence. I love to encourage and empower. But now literally God taking all this and go like to the masses. So when I'm dreaming, I see myself on a huge stage with the mic. I see my book go everywhere in the world. I see these little girls reading my book. Oh my gosh. So yes, I see actually like really building my coaching business, see the women supporting women. I see like breakthroughs. I see people so exciting to see hope. I see people loving God, loving themselves, loving their lives despite of trauma,
Mm,
and I want to be that link between people and organizations. Maybe somebody never been trafficked, but maybe they friends, they kids, and they see something on my website and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to be part of it. Or oh my gosh, I think this is what happening in my family. I want people to have all those resources and pass those resources to somebody who needs help, or use those resources for themselves if they need help. And I see like huge um checks in my visions, with lots of zeros, and I see myself traveling and donate this money because God blessed me with this generosity. And it's so very interesting because I was so that poor. I know how much money is the tool to buy shelter, to buy food, to buy clothes. Money never been for me like as the money per se. And I want money because it can serve so many practical needs. And I want that. I want to just go and write these gigantic checks to organizations that I support. And through actually my podcast, I meet an amazing people. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to be part of what you're doing because we're going to the same path to helping people, to serving people, to fight against injustice, to speak for those who have no voice. And I'm one of those miraculous stories, but there's so many people still and stuck and in pain and in darkness. And I want to support people who are already on the ground, who go and take care of the people and serve people and love on people all over the world. So that's what I want to do.
yes, girl. I love everything about that. I can feel the vibrations that are coming out of you when you speak about that. And that's one of the most awesomest things about being a woman in business, about being a female entrepreneur, is really allowing yourself to lean into what you were meant to do, leaning into your story, leaning into your community. And, what a testament. So thank you so much for being here. live. For those of you listening on the replay that resonated with Alina and all of the awesomeness that she shared today, make sure you check her out. Her website is listed right above or right below her video. And then it's also in a clickable link underneath the description, wherever you're watching us at. We love to make sure that we connect people here in order to make sure that we all continue to rise. Thank you so much, Lena.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yes. This is her talk show. This community is expanding every single day and is filled with females who are striving to do better than they did yesterday. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. If you have an amazing story to share, check us out at hernation.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I'm so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows people to share their truth and inspire